A long time ago, in a city called Nineveh, the people lived their lives worshipping idols, completely unaware of the true Creator. These idolaters were deeply entrenched in their ways, and their lives reflected the shamelessness that came with their misguided beliefs. Seeing this, Allah sent Prophet Yunus to guide them back to the truth, to remind them of the one true God. When Prophet Yunus arrived in Nineveh, he began preaching to the people with passion and sincerity. "You must believe only in Allah and obey His commands," he urged them. "If you continue to worship false gods, a severe punishment will come upon you." His words, though filled with truth, fell on deaf ears. The people of Nineveh did not like anyone telling them what to do, especially when it came to their centuries-old ways of worship. An old man scoffed at the prophet's warnings, saying, "We and our forefathers have worshipped these gods for many years, and nothing has ever harmed us." Another man added, "Why should we fear your God's punishment?" Despite their defiance, Prophet Yunus did not give up. He tried hard to convince them, but their stubbornness remained. They ignored his warnings and mocked his faith. "Let your God punish us if he truly exists," they challenged him arrogantly. Seeing their refusal to change, Prophet Yunus grew disheartened. In frustration, he decided to leave the town. "I leave you to your misery," he said, walking away from the people who had rejected his message. Without waiting for Allah's command, Prophet Yunus left Nineveh, feeling that there was nothing more he could do for them. Soon after the prophet departed, a strange phenomenon occurred. The skies above Nineveh began to change color, and the people could feel a terrifying sense of doom. The sky looked like it was set ablaze, and fear swept through the city. Memories of the destruction of past nations, like the people of Ad, the mud, and Nu, filled their minds, and for the first time, they began to fear what was coming. Slowly, faith began to creep into their hearts. The people of Nineveh rushed to the top of a mountain, raising their voices in prayer. They sincerely repented for their sins, crying out to Allah for His mercy. The mountains echoed with their pleas, and Allah, in His infinite mercy, heard their prayers. Seeing the sincerity of their repentance, He chose to forgive them and withheld the punishment. Meanwhile, Prophet Yunus had boarded a small ship, intending to travel far from the town he had left behind. The sea was calm, and a gentle wind filled the sails of the ship as it sailed through the waters. But as night fell, a storm suddenly brewed. The once calm sea turned violent, with waves towering as high as mountains, tossing the ship mercilessly. The crew and passengers were terrified, convinced that they would perish. The captain, desperate to save the ship, ordered the crew to lighten the load. They threw all the baggage overboard, but it wasn't enough. The storm raged on, and it became clear that something more was needed. The crew decided that someone had to be thrown into the sea, believing that the storm was a divine punishment. As they prepared to cast lots to decide who would be sacrificed, a large whale surfaced near the ship, following a command from Allah. It waited patiently as the crew drew lots to determine who would be thrown into the sea. Prophet Yunus, reluctant but faithful, allowed his name to be included in the draw. When the lot was cast, Yunus's name appeared. The crew, knowing him to be an honorable man, hesitated and cast the lot again. Yet again, his name appeared. A third lot was drawn, and once more, the name of Prophet Yunus was revealed. Realizing that this was the will of Allah, Prophet Yunus accepted his fate. He knew that this was a punishment for abandoning his mission without Allah's permission. Without protest, he stood at the edge of the ship, gazing out at the stormy sea. The night was pitch black, and the stars were hidden behind thick clouds. Before leaping into the water, Prophet Yunus called upon Allah's name and then jumped into the furious sea. As Prophet Yunus plunged into the water, the whale, which had been following the ship, swallowed him whole in one swift gulp. Trapped inside the belly of the whale, Prophet Yunus initially thought he had died. But as he began to move, he realized that he was still alive. Imprisoned in the darkness of the whale's stomach, he reflected on his actions and understood his mistake. He had left his people without Allah's command, and now he was being tested. In the depths of the ocean, Prophet Yunus prayed with all his heart. "O Allah, there is no God apart from you. I have done wrong. If you do not help me, I shall be lost forever." His prayers echoed from the whale's belly, and miraculously, the creatures of the sea heard his voice. They gathered around the whale, praising Allah in their own languages. Even the whale joined in, realizing that it had swallowed a prophet of Allah. Moved by the prophet's sincere repentance, Allah decided to save him. He commanded the whale to rise to the surface and eject the prophet onto the shore. Obeying the command, the whale swam to a remote island and safely deposited Prophet Yunus on land. Prophet Yunus was weak and sick from the acids inside the whale's stomach. His skin was inflamed, and when the sun rose, its rays burned his fragile body. But Prophet Yunus endured the pain and continued praying to Allah. In His mercy, Allah caused a tree to grow near the Prophet, providing shade and nourishing fruits. Gradually, Prophet Yunus regained his strength. When he was well again, Prophet Yunus returned to Nineveh, unsure of what awaited him. To his surprise, he was greeted by the entire population of the city. They had repented and turned to Allah, the one true God. Overjoyed, Prophet Yunus stayed with the people of Nineveh, guiding them in faith, and lived among them until his death. Thus, the story of Prophet Yunus became a timeless lesson in faith, repentance, and the mercy of Allah. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe and share.